First time casting and probably observing in game for a little while. So let's jump into this. Let's hide that logo at the right. Let's kick this off. So, on the bottom left-hand side, we're going to start with the red Protoss player from Storm Gaming. This is MaxPax. Taking on the blue Terran in the upper right-hand side of the map. It's going to be from Team Liquid. It is Clem. Alright, well, first game of this best of 3 as we get ready to go. Oblivion, beautiful map. I love the cut in half kind of feature of it. I always thought it was kind of cool about mouse one half map, two different kind of tile sets on either side. MaxPax says, I love this map so much, I'm going to proxy up a pylon on the top side of the map. So, this is going to get set up, that's going to get started here already. Let's get this ready to roll. Gonna build a second gateway, so already being very aggressive. And ooh, Clem's gonna see the probe coming from that direction too. That's really good information, because now you know where that probe was. Now you know that probe is kind of gonna be. That's really good to know, because now you know that there's a gateway. Then he's actually gonna bunker next to the gateway. He's going to try and get units out, and he's going to try and actually deny that gateway and so on from happening. So, that's kind of cool. I mean, we're going to get a bit of aggression here early, and this game's going to get crazy. Might not be the best kind of way to test out the map, but in terms of an exciting Starcraft 2 game, I'm kind of liking it right now. Let's get it. Let's have it. Let's see what we get as we go. SCV and the probe going to chase around a little bit. Going to see that probe in. Pushed away, just going to be having our factory on the way up, and Clem going to go reactor. So the bunker gets a marine in, MaxPax cancels the gateway, and we'll just build a nexus instead, but that's basically like an early game pylon forfeiture. He loses this probe as well, and the good news, I guess, from MaxPax is maybe that Clem's CC is delayed, but Clem's just like, well, I'm going to build like a factory first anyway, right? So I'm just going to go for like a factory focus setup. So that's kind of going to be... Yeah, I don't think that's really so much of an issue as this one marine in the bunker gonna go nipping away at that pylon, clearing that out on the top side of the map in the next few moments. That's gonna turn around and grabs the SCV, so able to pick that off already. How's that Twilight Council building up on the natural? I'm just gonna be again having plenty of marines on the way through. Starport's also building the command center in the main base as mentioned. We'll see what exactly Clem gets up to be aggressive with on the follow-up to this now. First couple of marines are going to take a bit of a step forward and actually going to meet this adept, which is trying to shade through. Obviously, there's a wall off that can lift. He's actually, just going to lift in time. I was going to say, you could maybe let the adept go in, but then you're going to pick up free let him have free information for the sake of maybe getting the adept kill via the Hellion. Probably just isn't worth it, as these marines are doing everything they can to zone this adept out. They do not want this adept to be here. They want it to be pushed back. They want to try and hide it from picking up info, and we'll see if he wants to turn this into an attack himself. As MaxPax behind this is going to opt for the Dark Shrine. This is going to be DTs on the follow-up. Center moves over to the natural, is going to land down there, and an orbital will begin to morph in. Couple of Hellions still hanging around the main. There goes the Medivac starting to boost out down the bottom side of the map as we see it pushing across. Dark Shrine just going to be coming through here. Getting that ready to go. Again, second gateway starting up in the main base. I mean, the thing is, this attack's going to hit before there's really anything set to go here from MaxPax. One adept across the map, that means only 2 adepts at home. Super battery goes down, and these marines and the Hellions are going to go past the super battery, so then that doesn't really even matter that much, as this adept here, he's actually just going to lift up and go to the main base. There's a battery here as well. 23 workers killed so far. I honestly kind of expected more. I mean, I know there's been a battery in action, but it feels like even on the natural, more could have been done. He's obviously denied some mining time. He'll get a couple more now, but I actually really feel moving away from the natural wasn't necessary. He could have killed an adept there. I mean, he's obviously doing a good job ping-ponging between bases at the moment. That's definitely adding up, and now you're going to start getting some kills as the battery's out of energy, but Yeah, I guess now the damage does start to come through. 7 workers. Medevac gets shot down, though. I don't know, I just felt like initially... I understand that obviously the super battery is active and this dep probably doesn't die, but maybe you could have targeted down. I did like the jump over the wall with the medevac of units. I just feel like then you should have just sent these units at there, maybe save the other unit that was here, bring that over. And then when the adepts have to pull away from the battery to fight you, then you could have maybe fought those, you kept the unit count low, and maybe that could have just snowballed a little bit more is all I'm thinking. Maybe. Across the map, the Prism is actually going to have a bad time, and there's going to be a Raven as well. So MaxPax not having a good time with the DTs. Clem is very aware of them and setting up very well against it as well, so just no issues at all on that regard. Marines and the Raven going to come back up the ramp and just going to be moving around the natural a little bit. This Prism comes through with a couple of Archons. Gonna start dropping these down as the Raven takes a few shots of damage. Well, with the Archons, it does power up this army a bit. Maybe MaxPax is not in as much trouble. All of a sudden, Clem is actually in a whole spot of bother. That one Archon goes down. The Cyclone delivering in the end. The Raven targeted, but he drops an auto turret down. Does he get the other Archon? He's locked onto it. Yes, he does. Pretty clutch defense in the end. I mean, obviously now pretty much everything goes down. He locks on for the Prism. He gets the Stalker, loses a Cyclone. Oh my goodness, I mean, this was really just crazy across the board. Wow. That was kind of wild. It's just going to be seeing Stim, Combat Shield, +1 attack all coming through. The Blink will start up on the Twilight Council as well. So getting the Blink up obviously gives you that little bit of mobility on the map, but I mean, MaxPax will still suffer from the fact that Clem's about to have Stim and Combat Shield. And MaxPax's tech is what? An Immortal? 1 Colossus on the way? We're a long way off Extended Thermal Lands. We're a long way off anything proper that's meant to be here at this time of the game for MaxPax. And that is a lot of the issue, really. So they put a battery down that third. Here comes the army moving across from Clem. Marines and Marauders making a bit of a journey over the other side. So continuing down, just going to be seeing the couple of cannons continuing up. Battery still in position. A couple of Zealots are continuing to warp in as well. Our Bio Army continues through this and just going to be chasing in. A couple of Widow Mines down the low ground. Stalkers being picked away at. We do have the Zealot getting picked off. Going to try and dive in for that Colossus perhaps. Again, more of these Widow Mines setting up between the bases. In we go. Finally got shut down. Suddenly no Blink available. Yeah, it gives up 2 probes to get past the Widow Mines, but there's still 2 more Widow Mines. But you might be able to get past now without the others firing. I mean, the problem is this damage from Clem is really racking up in the main and the natural. 10 workers down. The Bioforce will actually just turn and get a couple Stalkers too. We kind of misclick on the load up though, so we lose a couple Marauders that maybe could have survived otherwise. Wouldn't have minded one of these Widow Mines moving a bit closer here just to maybe grab this army as it moves back over. This Colossus just walked into it. Oh, double shot on the Colossus, so it's going to go low. So the little bit of splash damage you do have is now extremely vulnerable to attack. I mean, it will get its shields back thanks to Mr. Shield Battery, but still not really what you want it to be looking like right now for yourself. Do you see the Bioforce still setting up? There's going to be one Widow Mine that moves away to that right-hand side, so it's going to come around the side as the Marauders actually try and push the Stalkers back, but a Medevac has already fallen. Plus, still getting themselves set up. We do have the Bioforce around the top. Maybe wanted to go collapsing on that. Plus, I fire back. A couple of Widow Mines going off as well. One Widow Mine already gets cleaned out. Let's drop over here, trying to be active too. It just does feel like things are stacking up against MaxPax that little bit. At this stage of the game, I like that he's warping in a DT though. You know, add a little bit of harassment later on. Just try and test the waters, see if Clem is properly defended back at home. He actually puts a Marauder here, and I believe that's on purpose. Oh, he's going to collect it. It looked like it just ran back there. There is a missile turret and a mine over here, but the mine's a bit out of place. The DT going to reveal itself on transferring workers. Why not get the guaranteed damage, right? As, oh, it runs up the ramp into the detection. Now we're going to need a scan. Clem doesn't have one. Okay, DT gets away. Like I was saying, nice little idea, nice way to do a bit of something. I just pulled Clem's army back as well, so it buys you a bit of time that you didn't otherwise have here as MaxPax. And still, Colossus Force still joins up. Disruptor on the way out, +1 attack coming through, and the Shadow Stride is also building as well. As we do have the Bioforces going up together to the top here. It's going to be a little bit of slicing and dicing, and SCV going down as we stim on through. It's going to be a dead Dark Templar. So DT will fall. Are we at the point now, though, where we're kind of accepting that Clem's army is maybe going to be just a little bit too much? Right? 97 to 54 army supply. 1-1 against just +1. Kind of feels like we're going to be in a little bit too good of a setup right now for Clem. I just don't know what MaxPax really does against this. He's got one upgrade himself. He's on his way to, like, blink for the DTs, which would be cool if you can survive long enough to really put it into play, but... you know, surviving long enough in this situation is not exactly really ideal either. Continue down to the south side, and just going to be seeing our forces still setting up. Disruptor number 1 gets caught before he even gets a chance. Well, he does start to fire, but was never going to be successful. Second Disruptor shot, and that's already shot off. And it actually adventured forward as well, so that also goes down. Vikings are going to start putting the damage on the Colossus. Super battery pops, so you say, well... I'll fight more towards the natural instead. Make sure you don't have to, you know, you don't actually get to fight me with the super battery. And DT shows up, and we'll scan to get rid of that. Well, just still has to deal with the Colossi, and otherwise he's good. I'm kind of surprised he didn't go more heavily up this ramp. I mean, he really could have denied, like, the Robo facility at least, right? And then you don't have to worry about disruptors anymore, so I feel like that's arguably a lost opportunity. Looks like he was maybe busy dealing with DTs back at home at the same time, though, so... had to handle that. He will get the new Disruptor, so he's able to clean that out already, which is obviously a big plus as well. And yeah, otherwise Clem is just kind of falling back a little bit. Still those DTs trying to make their way back into the game, though, so definitely, I mean, the DTs absolutely having a, you know, an effect. You can see these rocks cleaned out, so you have a bit of a better rotation from the front of the natural to actually the front of the third base as well. It's going to be moving in there as those DTs blink out of it. Going to be seeing the bio actually providing some good chase down, and that's 2 DTs already falling. And now that pylon probably going to be in some trouble as well. Going to move down this ramp. We're going to see the cannon getting picked off. Battery getting picked off. Disruptor shot fires, and it's going to be another Widow Mine picked away at 2. EMP just to reveal a DT again. Just Clem never wanting to fully attack into this army. He is maxed out now. Does he want to start taking some fights, or is he happy to just sort of sit back? That's a big Disruptor shot. He's not maxed out anymore. I really feel like Clem has been, you know, and maybe I'm going to go out on a bit of a whim here, but I feel like Clem's not had the best couple of weeks. I feel like he's lost some matches which he feels like he shouldn't lose, and he's lost a lot more than he's maybe used to losing. And I almost want to say that it feels as though Clem has kind of lost confidence in his, in his ability to kind of pick fights and make decisions, because I 100% believe a Clem that's full of confidence would have been up in this natural and killed this a while ago, and MaxPax would have never had a chance to build up 4 new Disruptors. I just wonder if it's almost like a confidence thing, because, you know, things have not been going well for him lately, and he's now kind of concerned about that, and he's, you know, almost second-guessing himself a bit. I wonder. This big fight breaks out as MaxPax kind of found Clem out of position. Disruptors are not quite connecting. They're not getting far enough forward. This one goes into the center of the units, but it does end up being a dodge, as we will see every single Colossus going down. Now Clem can chase this army down. As long as there's no Disruptor shots, this army gets chased pretty easily. One Disruptor shot comes through, hits a Viking. But, I mean, with only Stalkers here, you can just see how this army would melt. There are going to be a few Zealots, and they are going to be needing to get into the front line if they want to make a difference. 76 to 61 army supply coming out of this. Oh, the flanking Disruptor is left to the top, and it finds a ton of units at the very end, and MaxPax gets a massive connection. Remember, we don't know exactly what needs to happen here for Clem to advance through this group, but he absolutely needs to win the 2 matches he plays today. That's what we do know. It would probably prefer him if he won with a 2-0 score as well, so maybe even losing this first game could be a problem. Another disruptor shot, and Marauder gets taken down already. Fight a little bit. A couple Zealots are going to go down. We are going to continue forward. There's going to be a Viking shot down as well. And disruptor shot on a planetary fortress. Still pushing through. I mean, the disruptors are going to keep Clem very heavily zoned out at the moment as a couple of DTs make their way to the top. I'm going to go jump on top of this depot. This planetary fortress being repaired a little bit. It's going to be kept alive. Again, the disruptor count getting back up. And it's just going to, again, be such a controlling feature of this game. What a fantastic way to start the day in the TLMC, guys. Getting some really good action out of this first best of 3 already. You're not going to be seeing the Bio Army going to turn around, stim in again. Another disruptor shot. Marina and Marauder going down. Another disruptor shot. They dodge away from that one too. Another disruptor shot and Marauder falls. MP goes down. We continue to dodge apart a little bit. Disruptor the front there. Also going to fall. Another disruptor hits a Marine or two. And these Stalkers are going to be continuing down, but now Clem's losing SCVs on the left, and MaxPax is going to win this game. MaxPax. So you have in the bottom right corner of the map of Tidehunters. We're going to get cross spawns on this map. I believe that's the first time it's happened. The last 2 times have been close by air spawns. Top versus top and bottom versus bottom. Bottom right side of the map, our blue Terran player is Clem. Taking on the red Protoss top left-hand side from Systone Gaming MaxPax. And a little bit of TvP. So, obviously in this case, they both have the same main, natural, and third to work with. The one reason I think this map is not getting a lot of love is there is so much difficulty if you are the player who gets the bad spawn location. If you spawn here and your opponent spawns here, you can go 1, 2, 3 bases, but this third base expands towards your opponent. You can go 1, natural, and then you're like a base away from your opponent's natural with your third, and your opponent just has to mine out some minerals. So then you have to say, well, where do I take my third base down here? But to do that, you have to clear out these minerals. So people don't really like that because they just don't have a good option for a third base if they get the bad spawn location based on the spawns, and hence the whole discussion of 4-player maps and the problems with 4-player maps begin. Yeah, and then obviously you got the fact that this is now, what, a 20 base map? So you only have 20 bases on this map when you spawn, well, when you spawn any spawns, but when you spawn cross spawn, it's a large map, and that means that now it's just like a mega large map with a ton of bases available. And again, we get to discuss the problems of 4-player maps, so the 4-player map discussion can begin already. Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know if there's a good answer on the current map. I can understand why this map has been vetoed so much, because I really do think it's the map out of the 4-player maps, and I don't like to be negative about the maps in the TLMC, but I think it's just clear, and from the amount of times it's been vetoed as well, it's clear that this map is disliked, and it's got to just be because there is a heavy imbalance based on where you spawn and how you spawn. And like cross spawns, like, you know, for example, like Clem might have loved this map pick if it was close spawns here, but now it's cross spawns. He might think, well, this map's way too big to play against Protoss on, right? And then, like I said, with the close spawns, those rotational imbalances and stuff, it's really tough. And yeah, I mean, like, what do you do? Because then if you remove these minerals, you're basically saying you can walk up into my natural from over here very easily. So that's why the minerals are there. That's why I don't think it's a good solution. I think the better solution would be, I mean, you just need to have this third base accessible on either side. You need to give your, you know, each player, the player a real choice of where that third base can be, and that is just not given here on this map. And that is 100% the problem, and why it seems to be so heavily disliked so far. Reaper will die. I'm unable to be effective with that, unfortunately. Just delete the minerals? Yeah, but then if you delete these minerals and you spawn down here, your opponent can just say, oh, cool, you've got no minerals. Walk up into your natural. The rush distance is way too short. That's the problem. Right? Yeah, it's... I just don't think this map layout necessarily works. Which is, like I say, a little bit rough. Yeah, that's been viewed a lot. At least we get cross spawns on it. We'll see how it works cross spawn. It's one of those things which obviously the map maker, when it comes to the iteration phase, can make some changes, and they might be able to say, well, you know, I realize that that's a problem now, you know, and I've done this and this to make the third base more accessible on either side while still somehow reducing the cross spawn distance or the close by spawn rush distance. That's the sort of thing that the iteration phase is for, and I think that's absolutely got to be... There's got to be a change on this map if it wants to be a serious contender to ever make it to the ladder map pool. Maybe you shrink it down to a 2-player map and you take away some bases. I mean, yes, that's obviously a possibility, but then this entire setup is just dumb anyway, right? Like, in that case, it's just not... It's not designed at its core to be a 2-player map, because the middle of the map is very uninteresting to be a 2-player map. It's like one avenue up here, and a very off-the-beaten track kind of avenue to go elsewhere. Like, at that point, you're just talking about basically rearranging the map so much it's a completely different map. You know? So that's kind of the problem. And then, you know, then again, like, you know, just making it a 2-player map, that kind of takes away the whole thing of trying to make some viable 4-player maps with a ladder map pool, right? Like, that's the circle we're going in. It's a circle with no answers, I suppose. Both the maps are created before the game started and no one had any advantage of what the map was before it started. Well, it doesn't really help, right? Because if a map spawns in such a way that Terrans can typically, like with a short rush distance or abusable positions, like a pro player can look at a map and make some good decisions about a map very quickly, so it doesn't really help anything, because then you can just start, you know, playing against it so quickly. Anyways, we've had this 4-player discussion so much lately. Let's talk about the 4 gateways of Blink Stalkers coming through, as MaxPax has access from the low ground, high ground. It's kind of a nice map for 4-gate Blink, actually. You know, no ramp up into this natural. You know, you can rotate here very easily, Blink into the main. I think we talked about this before, and the ability of maybe putting like a tank here and having good coverage of the natural and of your base. Obviously, in this game, Clem is opened with a very much so a focus on barracks and bioproduction rather than anything else. So that's kind of part of the problem here as this trade out happens. 13 SCVs go down, but I think Clem is just in trouble. And I think this win for MaxPax would put him in a position where he could maybe make playoffs. Clem would 100% be out of the tournament if he's going to lose this map right now, guys. And I think that might be about to happen. Because, well, Clem survives, but MaxPax has more units coming through. So now the second wave shows up, and Clem absolutely doesn't have units. And it looks as though MaxPax is going to take this 2-0. I really feel like Clem lost this in the first game, though, because it really felt like in game 1 he had the advantages, and it shouldn't have ever gotten to be in a position where MaxPax was ahead of game going into this map. GG's. Turns